Folks, it is an amazing day on So Bad It's Good. I'm in studio with two people that I love, that I look up to, that I think are icons in the podcasting space, and they cover shows that we don't really cover all the time on this show. So I cannot wait to geek out. They cover all the TLC shows. They cover Love After Lockup. They cover Welcome to Plathville. Everything is on their feed. They have a new iteration of their podcast you can find on their main feed called The Gaily Dose. You know them as Mattie and Poodle. We have Reality Gays with us.
Thank you, Ryan. I don't know who you were talking about in that intro because it wasn't us.
No, and by the way, I tried to.
Sweet. Are we on a first date and you're going to ghost me?
Yeah. See, it's all right. You know when you're with the Reality Gays because you get hit on immediately.
Oh, with those blue eyes. Yes. Well,
why
this
not?
is going to. We've had. And this is going to fuel the fires. I'm not trying. I don't want to put rumors out there.
No, please.
But there's been a lot of speculation about Ryan Bailey and Poodle, a.k.a. Jake. I just want to say I went to the bathroom and then we couldn't find them for 15 minutes.
You know,
I don't.
What?
So
Listen,
that's all I'm saying.
Love is love.
Exactly.
I mean, and I will, like, Rebecca,
when the lights are
Rebecca
off.
said you're my hall pass. And
Thank you.
My girlfriend.
it's like
love
Jen
her.
Aniston and Pedro Pascal will always
oh my
be.
God, I talked about that on the show today. I love that they're like, they're dating. And I'm like, they're not.
They're not. He's
friends.
gay.
Are we allowed to, like, speculate in
Mary
that way?
Payne was texting me about it because of the Tower Bar.
I have a long thing I'll talk about on the Gaily Dose on Friday. A whole new thing where I'm just going to call. Let's just talk about this.
Well, see,
They're friends. She loves gay guys.
She does.
Well, I mean, nobody. I mean, I feel like everybody loves gay guys. Well, that's not true.
no.
Sorry, my bad.
Well,
My bad. My bad.
We're kind of going through something in the country right now. So
guys. Well, this is my last show with S71.
Yeah.
So this is
Exactly.
great. No, I was talking about this very delicately because I'm a straight dude where I'm like, I can't say
You can't.
the rumors about Pedro Pascal, but I want to also open people's minds of just because somebody's hanging out with somebody doesn't mean they're knocking boots.
It is this idea of this is our sensitive straight guy and we are pushing it and this is what people want to believe, and that's fine. Believe what you want, but just know that he is gay, and that is fine. He smokes pickles, and that's fine.
We've not discussed. I didn't know you were going to be airing this. I didn't know this was discussed.
We're going to talk about it on Friday, whether you want to or not, because I'm tired. I'm tired of the will he of Petro. He was on Jimmy Fallon last night, or was it Jimmy Kimmel? I don't know. One of the.
He was
Jimmys.
talking about his coffee order. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was just watching, going, I so love that this is a sexy man in movies. Latinx man, and he is just for masculinity, and he's just who he is, and he's got a shirt on that says adult entertainment.
Yeah.
And he's pushing boundaries, but we're still entertaining because it wouldn't matter. I think it does still matter for us if he is gay because of what types of roles he's taking, and he's never going to say it because he has a huge South American family.
Yeah.
That's number one. But the fact that we're still kind of pretending that he's straight is hysterical to me.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't have any horse in this race. Like
I know.
You know, if he's straight, if he's gay,
I love him.
I'm not going to sleep with him, and I still love his work. Like,
Yes.
there's
Yeah.
nothing that I wouldn't watch that
love
dude
him.
in. He's like so talented.
But it's the collective insanity of us going through our heads. Oh, he's dating Jen Aniston. He's just America's most eligible bachelor.
Well, I think there's
Shut
also
up.
I think there's a little bit of that. Is like we all just want Jen Aniston to get it right.
Dude, I was
Because,
talking about this.
America's
Remember the John
sweetheart.
Mayer years?
Yes.
Remember you had the
God.
wedding to Justin Theroux,
What
the wedding
needy
to Brad
woman
Pitt.
did he not
So
fuck?
I think there's a little bit of like people love Pedro Pascal and they just think of him as a good person. They're like, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it for Jen
No,
Aniston.
it's just you're just fingering yourself with Cheeto fingers. At the end of yours, I just love him so much.
But isn't it funny that we also have to immediately sexualize somebody and be like,
Yes.
we love you so
Well-
much, you got to fuck America's America's favorite daughter, America's
Yes.
favorite
well,
sweetheart.
that is also though what gay men do. We sexualize first.
that
Really,
is our
before
bread and
anyone.
butter.
Before
Reality
anyone.
gays, everybody.
Yeah,
Reality
we're
gays.
here,
No,
we're here.
The last time I got to see you guys in person, I always talk about this night, was a bizarre experience in some ways because we were in New York City and we were on a kind of...
At Barracuda Barracuda. Yes.
we were in
Rest in peace.
Rest in
No, we
peace.
were on like a kind of a boat yacht.
Yes,
would you say?
at the 90 Day Fiance 10-year anniversary party.
Yeah.
With all these studio bigwigs.
You had
and-
Matt Sharp there, who is the creator of the
Yeah.
90 Day Fiance universe, also Love After Lockup on WeTV, and
Dan Adler.
Dan Adler, who's
I
his
mean,
big
really does
producer
a lot
as well.
of Lalu. Yeah.
Mary Payne Gilbert from Pink Shade was there. I mean, it was a who's who, but I found it such a weird experience. 'cause
Like
it
the
was
Avengers.
It was.
I think
Like the podcast
Yeah.
Avengers.
You
The
guys
theater
stay with
kid.
Ashley
Much more
Ray
low
was
rent.
there, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like, Ashley Ray. And she was awesome.
She's great.
And then it was like a smattering
And
of
then
90
these
Day
weird
people.
cast members like David and Annie, but she was pregnant at the time.
And she was so sick.
And
Yeah.
she just gave birth a couple weeks
She
ago.
just
right?
did.
So she sat
to a baby
the
that
whole
looks
time.
just like David.
It looks just like David.
It'll get hair eventually.
Well, I
I don't know, Ryan. Some babies
David was
don't
a really
get
nice
hair.
guy that night.
We love
He was
David.
a really
He's a
nice
lovely
guy.
yeah,
person.
we love them, but they were very nice to us, and they're. I'm very happy for them. You kind of bonded with Annie because she was pregnant, but Poodle
I
almost
got
was
sick
just
on the
as sick
boat.
on that boat because it was wild.
I had a producer or a PR
Oh, yeah, I
person had
remember
to
that.
bring me the little things because I
I
was
think
sick
Jackie,
on the boat.
yeah, from TLC. helped
Yeah.
me.
Is it- what I also noticed about that night, and I don't know if you take this in or not, is that you were as big of celebrities on that boat as the 90 Day cast members. Like Matt Sharp, I remember giving a speech and mentioned you guys in the speech, and I just thought, like,
Actually,
how many?
it wasn't Matt Sharp. It was the president of TLC.
Otherwise known as Poodle's husband number 9.
Sorry. No, I just remember
Howard.
there was a lot of free wine going around, but I just
Howie.
remember
There
you being
was.
brought up, and
was
you
very
know,
sweet.
people would mention you throughout that night, which was already a bizarre night. And I just thought, when did you guys start the podcast?
2020.
No, it was before that.
2019.
No, 2019 because
We started doing
in,
Southern Charm.
in 2014 myself, and then we started 2014.
We started
and
doing
then we
Southern
started
Charm in
out.
2018.
I feel like we're going to get this down to 2005
I think
eventually.
I think it is 18 because then we basically blew up.
But the podcast became Reality Gaze in
We blew
2019.
up at the beginning because at the end of 2019, Poodle went to
I went to China.
for like a choir gig. Or
I don't know if
orchestra
you-
gig.
I don't know if
you
you-
went to China
No,
and the show blew up?
Jake
'Cause
is patient zero.
I don't
he
know if
brought
you-
COVID back.
I don't know if you knew
I
what was
was in
going on in
Wuhan.
China.
No, literally,
like
he is
2019,
touring
early
China.
2020.
And then he texts me.
Not much going on.
First of all, Jake is a really intelligent person. He's got like
Go
2
on.
master's degrees, like a doctorate that he's never completed, and at the same time he messages me and he's like, I'm trying to use Facebook and Google in China and it doesn't work. And I'm like,
forgot.
it's a communist
I didn't realize that
country.
needed a VPN.
And he's like, could you check in though? It's kind of a
You
little
know,
weird over here.
because
the roads are
because
closing.
state media doesn't tell us anything about a pandemic that's going on, and so and our tour promoters were like, they say it's bad, but trust me, it will get you out if it's bad. We promise that everything is fine. They always say in China, it's going to be the Chinese people say. Things used to be so great, and things are going to be great, but we don't talk about now.
Yeah.
So
They're like Chantel in relationships.
yeah, it's
But no, it's
family show.
Yeah, but no. So we call our listeners sissies. A sissy messaged me and she said, "Hey, I used to be a virologist. I guess it's a thing for the army.
Virologist, yeah.
And my friends have told me they're saying it's 6,000 people. It's 600,000 people. Poodle has to get out now.
And so weirdly,
so I messaged him.
I bought a plane
WhatsApp.
ticket.
This was an escape from
Yes,
China.
I was like, you've got to get out.
Now, the
There was
good
a
thing is-
hashtag Save Poodle on Instagram. and our social
the
media.
next morning, however, things had taken a turn for the worst in China.
This
Our
is
promoters
January
said,
of 2020.
like January 24th, something like that.
Yeah.
Our promoters said, so how we were going to do like 4 more tours? We're now going to do 16 hours on a bus to get to Beijing and fly you guys home because things are not so great in Wuhan.
oh my God.
And so they flew us out. We were one of the last planes to not have to quarantine at a Air Force base from China. And so I probably brought it back.
no, I always figured you brought it. I knew you were involved in some way in the spread of it. at
Usually,
least. Yeah.
even in my past life, I was involved with plague.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
it's true.
My ancestors, bubonic.
I was
all
the
of that
last.
stuff.
I was the last sex worker in France.
he was the slut that killed a king because
Yeah.
she gave him.
Well, listen, I set that whole question up just to compliment you of like, look how far you are.
yes,
where
that
you're
happened in
You're on a
2019.
weird boat with 90 Day cast members.
It's really wonderful.
It is
Getting shouted out.
We feel very, very lucky. Everyone in the 90 Day universe has been very sweet and accommodating to us. We just kind of want to do what we do is just act like jackasses and tell dick jokes.
At the end of the day, that's it.
Yeah.
Because
That's what we love to do.
anytime Rebecca will always have it on, and like you sense the friendship. You know, like that's what like.
Yeah, we've been
it's
friends
working.
for 20 years.
We fooled them.
They
No, but I'm
believe
saying
it.
like that's the thing that you're like, oh, these guys know each other and they've let us in,
Yeah.
and we get to pal around.
And we're having fun. And
We are having a lot
because
of fun.
the day that it feels like drudgery, we're hanging it up.
Do you really like?
Yep.
I mean, because then you have bands like this that say that all the time. Then Fleetwood
Maybe
Mac.
you know what? Maybe you're right. I'll be phoning it in a year and just like
I have family money, and he fucks 80-year-olds for money, so we could do something different.
I also think that both of us know if something becomes a little stale to us, we will push to go into something that interests us because we're not interested in doing something that we can't be curious about.
That's why we started the Gaily Doses. We wanted to do something that's just a quick 30-minute show on Fridays, but it's something where people don't have to watch
Not
anything.
associated with any reality show.
Because people would say,
It's just us.
I listened to you.
Yeah.
I listened to the first, because usually the first 10 minutes we're just, or 20.
Just
we're
bullshitting.
just bullshitting.
Yeah.
And some people say, I don't watch the show, so I just listen to that and then I turn it off. And so we started the
That's
Gaily
fine.
Dose. It's kind of a gateway to the gay way.
But yeah,
for people to listen
Oh,
to.
did you just try to do a new catchphrase?
I did. A gateway to the
That
gay
was a
way.
soft launch.
You've said that on this podcast, so this podcast owns that now.
Exactly. We have to pay you 10% every single time.
Every time.
This is like Sting making P. Diddy pay every time. No, I was listening to Gaily Dose and I loved it because it's that shot of pop culture. It has the relationship, and that's what you find. Like I cover, primarily Bravo shows and now true crime, which I think they're interchangeable.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting. But I was
Especially with Karen Huger nowadays. You could go right in the middle of that.
Can you? I mean, do you? I would think with 90 Day Fiance cast members, you go in already disappointed in them. Like you are like, there's a fair shot I'm going to be disappointed. But sometimes with Karen Huger, like I'm like, or even Teresa.
She got a DUI and she went to jail.
Oh,
But there was like video. There was like insane video of her
and she talked
wasted.
I think it's a little
It's
different.
a shame because she really fell from quite a height.
Yeah.
We have not, it's different. Like Lalu, Love After Lockup, that's its whole other thing. Like people have died from meth.
Yeah,
But even on
goes
90
with the
Day
territory.
Fiance, it's like we have people that you find out that they haven't paid child support for years, or they abuse their wife or stuff like that.
There's always a reason why someone is looking for love online overseas.
Yes, because
that they can't find it here.
I can't find anyone in America.
The conceit
There's
of the
always
show
a
is
reason.
so bizarre, and I've loved it and watched it for so long now. But you have to really go with that conceit of
You have to.
Why are they doing this in the first place? Or even on this season of 90 Day Fiance, we have the older gentleman that flies planes.
Yes,
Yes.
Mark.
Mark
And
and
Mina.
Mark and I'm just horrified. I don't even like. By the way, I blame Mark, but I'm also horrified for Mark. And also, Mina scares me. But they have a child together, and I'm there's so many things that scare me where I just like shake my head the whole time.
And that's the normal response to have while watching 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, like how desensitized are you guys where you don't even realize something
I
shocking
can't feel
anymore?
anything below my neck. But
That's on the Grinder profile, guys.
To be
Grindr
fair,
worked in China. That worked
Grindr
fine.
did work in China.
Message me through Grinder.
That was bumping. And I'm going to say, though, I never get numb because there's always they get you in. And there's always some compelling couple that is there for, quote, the right reasons, where their honest feeling, like Stevie and Mattie this season. Stevie is a 39-year-old from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and Mattie is a 26-year-old from Tehran. Yeah. And she taught him English because he was trying to teach English in Iran, and he was leaving. He's leaving his parents. He doesn't know, because the relationship the U.S. has with Iran, if he's ever going to be able to come back.
And there, like he even asks her in one of the earlier episodes of like, what if I went back to visit? And
It's true high stakes.
But there's like a real art
Yeah, I
element
get
to that
chills
storyline.
every time.
They remember that episode where they had a shot of the American flag outside the hotel room
yeah.
when
And
they
he
were
went,
talking about that.
I've never seen it where it's not been on fire, in the most deadpan way. And I went, God, this is gold.
We think that right now, between this and Last Resort, we think like TLC is knocking it out of the park with 90 Day Fiance franchise. Right
I mean,
now.
obviously.
It's a great season.
And I want to point out to the audience, we do primarily cover Bravo shows, but if you look at the ratings, head-to-head ratings, not including streaming
It's
services,
insane.
90 Day Fiance, especially, night ratings for those are so much higher than Real Housewives. Now, that's
highest
not
rated
taking-
show for women.
Yeah, I mean, it's not taking into account streaming services.
It's not.
I know all
No,
their
no,
max
no.
numbers, I'm sure, are good.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird network because you have 90 Day Fiance, you have Dr. Pimple Popper, and now you have the Baldwins.
fucking
I'm a
Baldwins.
popaholic. I am. Too.
Oh, I can't. I can't. That shit is
love
gross.
Dr. Pimple Popper.
Before we get for the audience that doesn't watch 90 Day Fiance, I've tried to explain it before. Go over the different iterations of 90 Day Fiance and the ones that you're covering now.
All of them, but the ones that were it started with the original OG 90 Day Fiance, where basically an American meets and falls in love with someone not from this country. And the way the immigration system works for the U.S. is if that person comes over, there's something called a K-1 visa, and that person can stay in this country for 90 days. And if these people don't get married, they have to go back to that country. So the stakes are there.
And normally you know someone well, but a lot of people,
Some people don't know each other.
Have met maybe once
Or
not
online.
or not at all.
Yeah,
So
and then
there's
there's catfishing examples.
There is
There's-
catfishing.
There's been Ukrainian, Russian bride.
There is mail order bride
Yeah.
issues.
Well, there's a weird game show element to it too, because
Oh,
the
yes.
prize is a trip to America potentially forever, which
Yes.
is
Yes.
sometimes this really skewed prize because you're like, you live in a small town, the person's going to get over here and be like,
Yeah.
this isn't the Bright Lights.
We
big
call
city.
that the Hazel principle, because when
Yeah.
Tariq and Hazel got together, we thought she loved him enough that he was like, he'll do to get me to America.
It's the sacrifice of someone saying
She wasn't using him,
It has
abusing
to do
him,
with coming from a place of. It's all about privilege. This is someone who's coming from a much more disadvantaged place, and they're thinking, I could come to America to do something better for my family, for my children. And I've met this guy. It's not this romantic dream that Americans believe it is. The foreigner believes this person's nice enough. And this could help me get to my dream of making more money for my family. I could send back money to my family at home, and I could send back money, or I could give my money for my kids.
Yeah.
And my kids could be in the U.S. for a better future. And the American's like, I think she just wants me for my money. No, you're an idiot. You don't see pragmatism working here.
No.
No, that's the thing too, is you realize how important education is when you watch these
Yes.
shows and how
Curiosity,
curiosity.
and not being xenophobic.
And also, they know enough to get online to find somebody overseas, but they don't know enough to get online to actually learn anything important.
Oh, they don't learn anything about the
it's
person's
even
country.
worse. So now there's 90 Day Fiance, but then they started with Before the 90 Day, which is where we met our
Before
queens.
the 90-day clock
Yeah, Darcy and
counts.
Stacey came from
Before the 90-day clock starts.
That's usually an American who's going over to
Going
another country
over
to see
to meet them
to
and
see if it's going to work.
It's usually where some of the best footage comes from. Because
we had Jenny and Submit. We're
Jenny
before
and
the
Submit
90s.
was Whiskey 90.
Submit, your brother hates
Actually,
me, Submit.
I believe Jenny and Submit were the other way.
Oh, they're
And
other
the
way.
other
See, that's what I'm
way-
saying. There's so many iterations
That
of
is
90
the
Day.
third. That's the third version. The other way is a lot of times my favorite because it's the American moving to the other country because for some reason the other person cannot leave.
I'm starting to
And
clean a hotel room
so-
in Palm Springs, so I'm moving to India, Submit. Basically.
So it's very much fish out of water. The American just goes, wait, there's no running water here?
Wait, you don't have a
No,
Gelson's?
I always call 90 Day Fiance. It's like it should be retitled "Conversations We Should Have Had."
Yes.
because they
Yeah.
always have the important conversations after they
Or
get
we
there.
never Googled.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oops. And I find that
I should have
interesting.
used Quora.
Well, do you ever think? I love After Lockup, which you're covering. The new season just started this past Friday, and
We're starting season 1 though on our Patreon.
Classic.
next
which,
month.
by the way, you can stream on Peacock now,
Yeah.
right?
They're all on Peacock.
So we can go over to you and follow your journey from the beginning.
Yes.
and it's
Can.
like so good.
It's
Early
the-
Love After
The
Lockup.
early
good.
seasons, we haven't watched them, but everyone says you've never seen television.
We've seen
like
the first
this.
3 episodes.
Yes.
and we
It
both
is-
are like,
it's so good.
It's just candy.
I tried, it's Rebecca and I every Friday night. We were really sad when it's not on, and then we were really excited
Yeah.
that we had a new season. But it was one of those experiences again where you have to divorce yourself from like empathy and like human feelings because
A little.
Well, no, because you're thinking like a producer on this show. Like you have the
Yeah.
common storyline of two women are in love with the same dude that's coming out of prison and they don't know about
Those are
each
joke
other.
storylines, but yeah.
But you're like the producer. Does the producer feel guilty? Because at any point they could like
you just
warn
brought this up
the
on the
person.
show.
I brought this up, and
Because on the new season,
they're
yeah.
thinking about their documentarian lens, and where they can just set something up, and they're like, well, we didn't do this. Julius did this. Julius has done this with this woman,
and honestly, their process is not their problem. Is it not a producer's problem?
yeah.
But you
We
know
can-
this person, like who is the lady that the black
this season?
the black lady that like is in like her stepdad is driving her to the prison.
That's Kiana with G-Paw. Yes.
Keanu with G.
But we know that she's the G-Paw is also or no G-Paw's the dad, but
G-Paw is the stepfather.
Kiana's with.
Kiana is with Demondrick.
Demondrick. Yeah. But
Yeah.
Demondrick
Demondrick.
is with somebody else as
Is
well.
with someone else that we don't really know. He may be with his baby mama, Joelia. One of our
Joelia?
yes, her name is Joelia. One of our sissies on our Patreon said, "Y'all need to stop saying these names so quickly because it's going to open a portal to hell." Because it sounds we were just saying all of them, and they sound so exotic. Joelia, Demondrick,
It's
Tre-
Doctor
Detrice.
Strange portal opens
Yes.
up and swallows people. No,
There.
it was one of those things where you're like, to me, Love After Lockup is like advanced reality show fan viewing.
It really is.
Like, because you
I agree
have
with
to
you.
have watched a lot to get to that dark pathway that leads you to Love After
It
Lockup.
really is. It's the trash of the trash because you also kind of have to divorce the thought of this person is funny, maybe because they're on meth, but they're
Yeah.
funny.
It's-
and like you kind of have to forget about the meth part because that happens a lot.
Addiction is at the root of at least 70% of the stories.
Yeah.
And you would think that wouldn't be entertaining. You would think that would be.
You would think, but there's also this kind of way of there's this laughter through making it work. And that's what makes Love It or Lockup so watchable.
and it's usually the person on the outside that is
the
the
person on
nutter.
the outside's the craziest.
Well, okay, so we have this other, and I'm so bad at the names. I never learn these names
I
for
don't
some reason
either.
because I don't cover the
I'm
shows.
goldfish.
I usually try to learn them when I get there, but then I forget them after the season.
Okay, well, do you remember it's in this season, and it's the lady that has a couple kids already, and she started dating this guy a couple months ago in prison, and then she let that guy's best girlfriend live with her.
That is what is her name? That is with her name.
I'm never gonna remember. We just
not Robin.
This is the worst
this is
game
new.
of password
I know,
ever.
guys,
Shut up!
We're professional podcasters.
You
Leave
do
us
this.
alone.
How dare you?
It gives me life that he can't remember.
But she is with this guy, and he has his ex-girlfriend living with her like a fucking lieutenant.
Yes.
checking up on
And
her.
also not telling her the truth because she moved from a situation with the guy in prison's ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
They're no longer together, but it is so bizarre that there's like a kingpin behind bars
Yes.
that has this harem of women, and it makes me so sad because the one main woman has these like two precious kids.
Yes.
The grandparents
Ryan,
are like,
they always have kids.
They always.
that's what it is. What if you have kids? Like, shouldn't that be
Kimberly.
illegal?
Oh, Kimberly.
We love Kimberly with her kids.
That was
and her
that woman.
Kimberly.
That woman Kimberly and Joey were on last season, and Kim would say, this Southern woman, this world-weary Southern woman,
to
she's
her
like,
cousin who was
you
like
know,
her sister.
I've just never been lucky in love, and her cousins was also her nail tech, Tatum.
And while her cousin's doing her nails, she's like, well, I'm dating somebody. And she says, who? She's like, well, I'm dating.
Dating Joey. Remember that guy
your high
who you
school
dated in high
boyfriend?
school?
Remember when I cheated on him?
And remember I cheated on him and we were down there and we were listening to that Avril Lavigne song?
And then her cousin looks at her and goes,
Kimberly.
Kimberly. And
it's this like William Faulkner style.
It's like if Tennessee Williams
Yes.
like drank a Red Bull.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your
It
producer
is-
knows what I'm talking about because he's from Oklahoma. So
Yeah.
he knows
Shout out to Travis.
Incredible.
Yes.
I will say, if you think you're above Love After Lockup, you're not.
You're
number
not.
one.
Well, but it is interesting. You have to prep people because we made the mistake of recommending this to our friends Matt and Jess, who really like reality TV a lot. So we were like, hey, maybe it's time. And we told them about Love After Lockup. And they texted, they're like,
Were they horrified?
this is a little too much. And I'm like, yeah, just let it wash over
listen,
you. You know, like,
listen. Nothing is too much for me if I can watch the Baldwins.
Okay, so the Baldwins, which I know you're not fully caught up on, but
No.
you are. This week's
I've been
episode
watching it.
was called Glengarry Glen Floss.
Great name.
Because they take all the kids to the dentist.
Yes.
Explain, or what is your perception of this season of the Baldwins?
Okay. How do I start? First of all, the first episode, the premiere, I watched it kind of like this. Because you kind of don't know where you are.
So you had like a worried face for people listening.
Yes, for those listening, I had a worried face. It was some of the most lurid reality television I've ever seen, and I watched both seasons of Inmate to Roommate on A&E, which is I still say
Inmate
is
to
the
Roommate.
most disturbing
I
reality
haven't
show.
even thought about that show.
It is so fucked and also wonderful.
So you're putting it up there with Inmate to Roommate.
Here's why. We all know what happened with Alec Baldwin, and the show completely acknowledges this tragedy.
Yeah.
On the film
Rust
set
shooting, yeah.
where he had a prop gun. It was
Didn't
loaded.
have blanks in it. It was loaded.
It was loaded, and he involuntarily, to be fair, shot a woman who was the director of photography on that shoot.
Yeah.
And she had a child, and he was going through a trial, involuntary manslaughter. And the way that Hilaria talks about it is like, nothing will ever bring this woman back or her son, but we've been going through it just as much
Yeah.
here.
But also,
It's chilling.
yeah,
The
like
show was created fully to be like a redemption arc.
And to
Well,
give
and
him
also
a
to
career
get
again.
money.
Yes.
to get money. Yeah.
I mean, because in the show, they don't know if he's going to get off. Like, there is an episode where they're like, one of the kids, she's like, she asked if she should say goodbye to her dad because she might not see him again. And
Yeah.
they said, yes, say goodbye. Like, they're
That's
preparing
what
the
I'm
kids
saying.
for him not to go back.
You're watching this like, what are we selling here?
No, I think we're selling Hilaria because to me,
Yeah, I think so,
Rebecca
too.
was talking about the same.
I don't wanna buy her.
but it's like big pharma. It's like big Hilaria.
because if he went
Like,
to prison, she would get on Love during
she would have
lockup.
money.
Well, we all know, if you don't know, Hilaria Baldwin, there was a big scandal with her
Accent.
not being, she's from Boston.
Hillary from Boston.
Hillary Thomas from Boston. Good Irish name.
And she tries to explain it away of I have a
a
different
family-
appreciation.
Sometimes
family's
I
in
speak in
Spain.
Spanish. Sometimes I speak in English. I like both
But
languages.
it's well documented
That's
that's
normal.
not that she was just blatantly lying. It's well documented, but they let her, this reality show has
Yeah.
the conceit of letting her have this excuse.
Yes.
And it's sometimes she'll pick on Alex so much that I sometimes wonder if when he's going to fire back and go, you did a fucking fake accent for years.
Yes.
I backed you up
and
on that.
that Ryan is where I come to the darkest part of this show.
He's going to kill again.
It feels like Family Annihilator vibes the whole time. And I know that's really fucking dark. But there are 7
sorry.
children around.
8 pets, 7 children.
8 pets, and you just see Alec Baldwin going, Eduardo, please do not write on the furniture.
Well, and also he has
Consuelo.
apparently
Do not-
diagnosable OCD.
Oh, it gets worse as the show goes on.
Every episode, we're reminded that
And
he has
PTSD.
OCD. But also, he's just organizing the shoes and cleaning. Like, isn't that just like cleaning up after 8 kids.
Carmen, will you please not write on the
This week's
subtext?
episode, the one kid is like upset and calls him like a pootie or something like that.
Why would you call father that?
Yeah,
Why would
like-
you call me
And
that?
he has like the kind of old man walk coming out to get her food.
But the look on his face when the children are screaming, and Hilaria is only speaking Spanish, and Alec Baldwin is looking down at the floor like, "I made a horrible mistake."
Yeah.
I
was in the hunt for Red October.
It is chilling. And I cannot look away. And I've watched every
I'm
episode.
so bored by it. if I'm
Really?
honest. It's my least favorite type of reality television.
what
'Cause
type do you
I'm
consider?
bored, but I still watch.
You were, because to me, first of all, I'm just going to say this. I don't like shows with a bunch of kids. I think it's stupid. You fucked and got pregnant, and now you think you deserve to have a reality show because you have 7 kids. I don't give a fuck that you're horny. The horny hillbillies. We have relatives in mountains with 10 kids, and they don't have shows. So
Not
first of all,
yet.
I don't give a shit. And second of all, I just find her so just basic and not compelling at all. And half the show is just them chasing children, and that
And
just,
children screaming and
that
dogs pooping.
just-
Yeah.
I feel like I'm wasting my
Well,
time.
some of the
But
kids.
some people love these type of shows. The Duggars, all that kind of shit.
But we were talking about John and Kate plus 8. And if you remember that, I don't know if you guys watched back in the day.
I
John and
never
Kate plus
did,
8.
no.
Well, the
Jake,
kids.
his favorite wig, though, hair. Of
My
the
favorite
reality
wig is a Kate Gosselin wig.
I mean,
Yeah.
iconic.
Yeah.
Like we
Iconic.
spoke about Jennifer Aniston earlier.
That's
very
true.
similar vibes in terms of like what it did for the
That's
nation.
the original Karen wig.
I was about to come at you because I love Janet.
The Kate Gosselin is like a Karen wig.
I mean,
It is.
Well,
that is a precursor of a Karen haircut. It's Kate Gosselin.
Truly, but like the kids back then, I watched that show religiously. Like I was fully on board. I bought the book Multiple Blessings. I was,
Wow.
like,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Like I don't just like act
you
like
in a
I live this
cult?
lifestyle. I've been living this
That's
lifestyle.
true. You walk the walk.
I walked the walk, embarrassingly enough. But I remember like those kids had like a sense of personality about them where
Yeah.
they were very individual. The Baldwins kids, no offense, I don't want to speak ill of kids, but there's like a feral quality.
There
and
is a feral
you have the
quality.
older
We speak
daughter
ill
that-
of children. We are gay, childless men. We always speak ill
Oh, no,
of
okay,
children.
cool. The older
Who are you
daughter
talking
that acts
to?
like she's in her 40s.
Okay, that older daughter needs to be checked. That older daughter needs to be told that she can't talk to her parents
Well,
like they're her friends.
No, that's because, especially it happened in this episode, Hilaria talks to her daughter like she's her best friend.
Yeah.
See, I feel like it's Hilaria's fault, not
No,
like
it
her
is.
fault.
Yeah.
Do
It
you like
is.
this type of show, or is this not your type of vibe?
I try to explain to the audience in that I enjoy things that I shouldn't be seeing.
Same.
Like we shouldn't. It's kind of like those lively Baldoni emails and texts. Like we shouldn't be seeing this, but we are. And
Yeah.
like you're horrified, but at the same time you keep reading because you're like, why? How is this even out?
That's why I'm watching.
And so it's not in terms of like this is fantastic reality television. You're watching because
not.
it is this weird. I don't even want to say train wreck. It's just like I shouldn't be watching this. And you keep thinking back to this is a dude
Exactly.
with multiple Emmys. This is a dude that should not be on a TLC show. No offense to TLC.
How far has he fallen to
He doesn't need to be on a reality show this
TLC
way
show?
at all.
How like the eye bags? Like come on, we don't have money to fix
looks-
the eye bags.
I
He
know.
looks
I know.
terrible.
I know. He's been saying he's been sober since like the '90s. He looks like he drinks 11 shots of
That's
whiskey
the
a
other,
day.
but in this week's episode, he did bring up like we have a wine room, and I'm like, do you drink or don't you drink?
I had my eye bags taken out. He can afford it. It's
but
not
no,
that hard.
He looks rough. And as
Hey,
someone,
did you see Carolyn Ray, the comedian?
I
in this
love
episode?
Caroline Ray.
She randomly popped up as like a best friend to Alec Baldwin.
and I have a feeling that if the show continues, I have this idea that it will get renewed.
It will.
I just
You gotta forget, TLC's had shows like
They will-
Extreme Sisters.
See, I was wondering
It's
about the
gonna
ratings for this show because I was trying to find information. I found information for the first episode. It was like 451,000 or something like that, and it wasn't great, but like that's still better than some Bravo shows.
I guarantee you, the ratings I'm sure fell off. It won't matter. It will. They
TLC is a market on shows with kids. People like those.
It doesn't matter sometimes if it's just the ratings, is if it's people will talk about it.
and we're talking about it.
And we're talking about it. And it's like the White Lotus. It's like the brothers on the White Lotus. It's just about people talking about it. That's what we want to talk about.
I want to bring up White Lotus in 1 second, but just to put a capper on the Alec Baldwin thing is that it'll be interesting to have it get renewed, and then it'll kind of like turn into that part of reality television I like too, where you can tell one of the partners does not want to be doing this, and one really does. And I think Hilaria will want that second season, and Alec will be like, I'm trying to do movies again.
He's going to try to be an actor again.
He's going to be. He's going to be just staring at a script, and he's like, Eduardo, please do not breathe in my face again.
But do you think Lorne Michaels is going to pop by in the Hamptons?
Probably.
Or like Jimmy Fallon and Tina Fey or something?
I would love that.
I would not doubt it if he could guarantee them guest stars like that. And she just keeps making guacamole and fun.
No, this is what's good. No, she already is planning.
Guacamole.
She's going to start making things for kids because she's now a kid expert. She's going to try to do what Jessica Alba did and make children's stuff or
remember
car
celebrities
seats.
in our days growing up is that you were like an actor or a singer or you know like you were one of these things, and now you've got to be a mogul. You can't just be a reality star. You've also got to have $1 billion brand. You've got to have a skincare line. Like you've got to have Jessica Alba has like the wipes and all
Poodle
that
plans
stuff.
on making lube.
Yeah,
that's what
lube is my next.
And just no offense, I would never buy that lube. Like you are so filthy.
You know, I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
the ingredients. It's going to give you a rash.
It's gonna. And it's made overseas very cheaply.
I can always like each bottle's like 3/4 gone. I'm like, this is a brand new bottle.
You're going to lose a testicle, but you're going to remember.
It's got a strange green glow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
I didn't say it was good.
You just brought up White Lotus, which I think is interesting because I find myself having to defend this season, which is so idiotic because
I love this season.
I love this season, but also
I have to say too, shout out to Ben and Ronnie because I love when they do the theme and they go.
Oh, I saw that video today.
It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Wait, do they cover that every week?
They cover that like I think on their Patreon. Watch What Crappens does.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's why I hate you guys and them, because every time I'm like alone in a room doing a solo recap, I always just like, this would be so much fun to have somebody to lean on.
Oh. Yeah.
To have like a partner, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
It is true. It's hard to do something by yourself. Yeah,
well,
I agree.
it gets just because you're like, your bag of tricks and you're like,
it's very admirable. It's why we say all the time you're one of the hardest working people in the
but that's not. But that's people say that, but that doesn't mean you're good. You're like
you're wonderful.
You're like, oh,
Ryan works
it's
so
like,
hard.
It's like Special Olympic. Like, oh, you're trying so hard out there. You know, like and we just love it. What a lot of work you're putting in.
You get a great participation trophy. Though, I tell you
Great
what,
job, Ryan.
No, but
I understand what you're saying, but it is it's always fun to play off of someone else with a different strength and
Well, that's what, like the opportunity to do this in person with you guys. It was so much more exciting than like doing it like a virtual or doing it by myself. Obviously. Sorry, to go back to White Lotus, though, I'm defending this season, which I'm like, this is so weird having to defend anything. Like, if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. But I don't want to read your think pieces of why you think it's bad. Like, I'm enjoying it, but we have this entrance point now for perverts, and I mainly mean you, is that we
we have
an incest...
Gladly to say it.
We have an incest storyline. We have it with Lachlan and Saxon. Beautiful names, and we have the
very
family.
Southern.
No, it's like, this reminds me of like so much of Sutton, and I know they based some of this. They told him to watch Southern Charm,
Southern Charm,
right?
yeah.
Oh, they did.
And that's why
the accents.
Jason Isaac's voice is exactly like Thomas Ravenel's.
I never thought of that, but that is very
and
true.
Parker Posey already knows that accent. She was Freda Black in The Staircase, and she was doing the accent already.
She's from Mississippi, but
she is so
different.
that. But I'm from South Carolina, and that area of North Carolina that's kind of central. There's a frontal aspect to the vowels that is very central North Carolina. But my people talk more like this. But North Carolina is a little higher up in here.
Is that like glottal? Is that...
No, it's more frontal, and there's an ooh. Ooh. It is Piper, no.
I wonder if there's like a dialect coach that they...
A lot of people, there's dialect coaches who will tell you the eccentricities of every type of regional accent.
I remember in
Central
theater
North Carolina,
school,
Western.
like doing like diphthongs and like marking up like a certain way to do accents, and I've lost all of that information now. But you're enjoying this season, right?
I love this season. I know there are people who think that it's slow. I disagree. I love the character. I love the slow burn. I love watching Thailand. I love watching a world being built. I don't care if it's slow. I love Mike White and everything he does.
What
I
about
was
you,
a
Mattie?
big enlightened person.
I'm like I'm not with everybody where they're like, oh, it's so slow. I hated season 1. I wasn't planning
like
on
season 1,
watching White Lotus ever again, honestly, because I just fast forwarded the last 3 episodes just to see the plot because I work in this business and I needed to know. And then someone kept hounding me who shall remain nameless. And so he made me watch season 2.
It's a cultural touchstone.
And you like season 2.
I love season 2. I like season 3. I loved season 2.
See, I think I'm loving season 3 more than I've loved season 1 and 2, but I also didn't hate season 1 and 2. I really enjoyed it. I just like that Mike White is definitely inspired by reality television. Like,
Yes.
I love that hearing.
He was on Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. He did a great season of Survivor,
And
which you
he's had
stream.
Survivor contestants on as cameos.
like extras. Yeah, totally. The guy like watches the shows that we watch, and my big question is, does he watch 90 Day Fiance? Like, is that a bridge too far for Mike White? And what could we derive from White Lotus that you'd be like, that's very 90 Day Fiance? Is there any? Because none of these 90 Day Fiance cast members could afford to stay at a White Lotus.
No, it would be like the Motel 6 Lotus.
Yeah, you're getting into like a little bit of a show we used to cover that called Marrying Millions that now it's gone. Where
Marrying Millions.
Where someone marries like a millionaire. But anyway, I feel like that's more White Lotus because you did always wonder, especially with some of those younger women with their husband who was rich, you thought, did he kill someone? Or not even. Some people were like, they killed someone. We just don't know how many. So that was more White Lotus.
You know what it is? The reality TV aspect is the kind of the idea of trying to become something else when you're in another country.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the people in 90 Day Fiance have traveled and they go abroad thinking they're going to find themselves or find their partner, and they do this vacation thing where they meet their vacation bang, and they say, and the vacation bang, that's another person. So they meet them and they're like, oh my God, I love this person. You met vacation them. And so when they go on 90 Day Fiance, they take it all the way back. They're not the same person.
Yeah.
So, but there's this idea of I'm going to be a different person on vacation, and the White Lotus people realize is I'm traveling to some place, I'm still the same. And I've still got the same problems. That's the whole great conceit of White Lotus.
This past episode, it was like, you can't run away from pain.
Yes.
You can't run away from pain. And, like for me.
I did like this episode a lot.
No, I love TV that I think we watch so much. I don't want to use the word disposable, but reality television,
Totally
especially
agree.
with what we do, like, oh, it's another season of 90 Day Fiance, another day, another season of
blends
Beverly
together.
Hills. It blends together. So it's nice to have something that like stays with you week to week.
Great writing, character, acting.
And you guys have a great appreciation for theater, and I think there's just an elevated nature to it.
It's wonderful television.
What else are you guys watching right now, or what do you watch for enjoyment? And then what is the show that you hate to cover the most, and the show that you love to cover the most?
Oh,
Well, I'm not just saying this to be nice. I don't think we have a show that we hate because we've started shows.
we just stopped
before,
shows.
and we're like,
we just stopped doing them.
we're not doing it anymore. Like,
What is that conversation
we
with the
learned-
audience? Are you like,
We
sorry
just-
guys?
Usually they're because we did a show on ABC called Labor of Love.
Oh my God.
And
Was
it was
that on? Was it Fox? It was Fox.
whatever. But yeah, maybe it's Fox. But it was hosted by
Kristen
Octomom?
Not Kristen Stewart.
That would have been a different show with Kristen
Wow.
Stewart.
Hey everybody, welcome to Labor
Sex
of
and the
Love.
City. Kristen.
Davis.
Kristen Davis. He was like, meet Christy.
Meet
She's
Christy.
a single woman who's
And
looking for a baby.
This one
And it
was awful. She was trying to find the baby daddy.
I forgot
And
about
literally, the guys, the first episode, had to go jack off in cups in a trailer to test their
And she
sperm.
was this horrible Midwest princess.
And some guys were sent home because they were like, your sperm didn't cut it.
And
It was horrible.
We stopped that show, didn't we? Or did we go all the way through?
finished. I think we did stop it, but after that show, we will stop.
We'll stop
covering a
something
show
we don't
if
like.
it's
We
really
usually
terrible.
try to vet things pretty carefully, and or
Love
give
is
something.
Blind was hard this season. I will say.
Yeah, I will say
Was that,
and
is
we
that,
normally
is that due
love
to the
Love is Blind.
homogenization of that like kind of concept?
Minneapolis,
Or just everybody
it's due
looked
to the
the
city.
same,
It's
yeah.
due to the city, and someone in Minneapolis actually said the reason why Love is Blind is this way for Minneapolis. The reason why the people are like this. I know 11 of these people, and they had to choose one person out of every friend group in Minneapolis because everyone knows everybody.
Yeah.
Because everyone's dated somebody. So it was so difficult to find people that they found some of the worst, most boring people.
And normally Love is Blind is probably one of our favorite things to cover.
Yeah. But this season was tough. It was a slog.
When is the next season of
October? Probably will be in October. It's going to be in
They
Denver.
do two a
shoot
year.
like two seasons
at a
ahead
time,
of
yeah.
like a scene.
They've got one in the can now. So it's in Denver.
It's hard to pick a favorite though right now because we do really, really love After Lockup.
Last Resort's my favorite right now.
but-
I can't believe I'm saying that
So
because
wait,
I hated
yeah,
last season.
And it's my fault because I'm so excited that you guys are here, but I'm skipping so many things. Like, explain 90 Day The Last Resort because we got to before the 90 days, 90
So,
day, but
yes,
explain
so-
Last
and then the
Resort.
other way, The Last
So it
Resort.
started live. This is the second
It is the
season.
fourth spinoff.
There was a first season, which I loved that season too. Like Kalani and Asuelu,
hated
their
it.
storyline was. It was wonderful. But basically,
Kalani,
but
please.
Last Resort is basically couples are sent to like they even the music sounds like White Lotus.
It's a
they're sent
takeoff
to
of
this
it.
beautiful resort, and there they work with 3 different therapists. Usually there's this woman named Reba who is not a redheaded woman from Oklahoma. She's a black woman who's a sex therapist. She's amazing. And this year's James and Heidi. And basically the 3 of them, when we were on, went to the TLC party years ago, I remember talking to Yara of Yara and Jovi and talked about how she said that therapy was transformative. They really spend hours a day.
So these are real
Couples
going to
therapists.
therapy sessions, going to individual therapy, going to group therapy sessions.
And they go to bars at night.
And then they go to bars at night and get
but
drunk.
I wonder if TLC is ever worried about giving them too much therapy. Of like, let's not clean them up too much.
I think they know it's not going to
They
take
need
too much.
they need like some, as we call it, as my grandmother used to say, they need some time in the nervous hospital.
When you're that
They
paper
need a
bag,
good stay in the nervous
Well, I wanna
when
hospital.
you're
see
that
the
plastic bag
therapists.
floating around in Magnolia, you need a lot more therapy. That's
American Beauty.
American Beauty. Yes,
like-
yes, yeah.
So, yeah. Do you see that the therapists are like close to hurting themselves at any point? Like, do they get so disappointed
we
in the
interviewed
job?
James, and they're up for the challenge. The therapists are like, we're here to take these trash pandas apart and hopefully put them back
And
together.
they said there's the last resort, and then there's between the sheets,
Which is just
of them kind of watching
extra things.
But even that is really good.
But the last resort this season has been couples, like it's people who you kind of like and also people who you dislike, but there's been Gino and Jasmine, obviously.
Yeah, Gino and Jasmine, and now Jasmine is with somebody else. And
in a possibly open marriage with Gino.
We
wait,
think.
Gino's
And
still
she's
involved
pregnant.
potentially?
We don't know.
We're not sure.
She started an
What's the
Instagram.
Ryan,
bit?
there's
What's
so-
the, I mean,
there's
is this
so
Andy
many
Kaufman
answers.
levels of a commitment? Is this real? Is this?
That is what we're asking. This is Andy Kaufman level of commitment. So we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
But
we don't know.
You are like the number one podcast in terms of covering these shows. You do not have the inside track on,
Well-
or are you like, don't tell me, I don't
You
want to
know
know.
what it is? We try to avoid so much of the gossip that's out there because there's so much, and a lot of it starts to choose sides, and we're kind of like it's kind of biased of how they cover it. And so it's too much. You would need to do a podcast just on the 90 day level of gossip.
And I think
And it's
there
just-
are.
yeah.
So we
not
feel
what we're
But
like-
you
into.
prefer to do the actual what we're seeing on the television
well,
screen.
because
and
also,
sometimes
too-
if things are informative, if things inform that happens, we talk about it, but we don't get down in it.
And there's this, you got to remember, like you were brought up, there's so many people, mainly women, that watch this show that are, a lot of them are moms. They're not reading the blogs. They're not, and so we don't want to spoil their experience.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
And again, unless it's like super important that we feel like it should be brought up on the show.
I always forget that because I'm always talking about I'm extremely like plugged into a fault, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
well, of course you saw the third post from Teresa Giudice, like, yes. And they're like, what are you fucking talking about? And
Yeah.
And there are a ton of people who do follow at that level, and we just don't think it adds anything for us. We have plenty to talk about. We're much rather more interested in talk about the motivations behind why they would do this and why Jasmine and Gina are trying to practice ethical non-monogamy. We're like, this is not that.
Because we have many friends that do that.
This isn't Dan Savage. Like
This
is,
this isn't conversations about should we bring in this
yeah,
third.
it's not.
This is Jasmine saying we're gonna have an open marriage, and it's gonna be this guy, and it's the only way I'll do it.
And I think one of the blessings too of this season is Natalie and Josh finally broke up, which means Natalie's going to be on my favorite iteration is 90 Day the Single
The
Life.
single life, which is
That's
when they
my
date.
favorite version
So
of the
this is
show.
where
There's
they
literally
spin off
seven
5
spin-offs.
they have 90 Day cast members that have never been together, and then they force them to date.
No.
No.
These are people
But
who
I kinda
were-
love that
These
idea.
are people who were in 90-day couples for some reason or other, either through divorce or they've broken up. And
Now they're single,
Now
looking for
they're
love.
single, looking for love, and they're dating.
And they're dating.
Are we at
Normies.
Are we at a point yet where are we having more gay representation on these shows yet?
On 90 Day Fiance this year, we have
yes.
Sean and Aaliyah, and Sean is identifies as a gay man, and he met Aaliyah as Douglas in Brazil, and now Douglas is Aaliyah and a trans
Identifies as a
woman.
trans woman.
And
Yeah.
so thankfully, Sean lives in LA, so thankfully, I think it's an easier process for Aaliyah to come here. But
And also, they have an almost 30-year age difference.
Oh, good.
So
yeah, that
it's-
part.
Yeah,
Which
it's
to me,
that's the
that we feel like
to me,
that's the bigger issue.
That is the bigger issue.
Yes.
Less than he's now with a trans woman, and also he's like, I don't really want to be married. And Aaliyah, who is 25, goes, but I want my Prince Charming, and I want a husband, and I only want one person.
And we're like, every gay man over 40 in Los Angeles is in an open relationship.
Right. And so
everybody's.
And so she's like, I don't get it. And he's like, I'm not sure I want to be married. And I'm honey, run.
But there is representation there. TLC does a good job of it.
There's a thruple.
but see, it's a
but
throuple,
it's a joke
fake
throuple. It's a joke
isn't it?
throuple.
They seem like
they're absolutely awful.
And that's another one where the lady in Mexico, right?
Yes,
Like,
in Tijuana, they took the long
Diego.
trip from San Diego
Diego.
to Tijuana.
Like, ooh.
You don't know our
but
struggles.
that lady has like 3 kids as well, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we
This is-
doing?
she's a private dancer.
It's absurd.
And wait, in the first episode, she was wearing braces.
Yeah. What's wrong with adult braces, Ryan Bailey?
Sorry, I'm sorry. The reflection of your braces kind of caught me there.
No, I'm just saying it's
It's a gay
interesting.
chastity belt.
It
My
is
mouth.
interesting to see, like, because at some episode it doesn't look like they're in anymore. In terms of like, have you noticed that? Like,
it is,
or maybe she's just hiding.
Well, it is. This is one of the storylines that TLC has kind of started to do lately, where it is obvious to their viewers that these people are doing this for.
So it's almost like two
Fraudacity.
truths and a lie, and you have the audience pick out the lie.
And well, no, it's obvious. And now there's a little bit of Schadenfreude watching this woman named Amani. They pronounce it differently. But be like everyone's kind of waking up, and Amani has gotten a full blowout, full face and lips, and everyone else looks like they just got out of the shower. Yeah. And so that's the joke of it all. Then they go have a picnic, and the women are in formal gowns. And it makes no sense.
But see, how do you put that then with like this Iranian story where there's actual like
that's-
depth and there's pathos to it?
And that is what's interesting. The show there gives you a lot to laugh at, and the throuple is laughability. And I don't know if that's intentional. I feel like they film all this, and the editors go, "Yeah, this is a joke. I think we got to punch this up as much as we can now." And there are some couples who have been left on the cutting room floor. So
Just completely.
yeah, and
sometimes that happens.
Can you imagine being too normal for?
But I just
It's
want to back
happened
up
before.
and say, with the throuple though, it's TLC, at least on 90 Day Fiance especially, it doesn't lend itself to creating, quote, reality stars.
It does
These
not.
are their subjects. But then you do find, like, we love Shekinah and Sarper. We love them because
They've won everyone over, too.
He's TV gold.
I've
really
slept
like.
with 5,000 women.
Yes, she's great. Like, they're.
Adonis, you
They're-
are my boy.
And are they in this both to be influencers and
Yes.
Yes, you can look at them and see. But I think what is
House
important
cow.
at whether they're really good at it or not, at the core of it, I believe that they love one another.
They do.
And they want to be
I believe it
together.
too.
And with the throuple, we don't believe
No,
it.
they're also bad parents.
Yeah, that's the thing. I
The
think that
throuple,
upset,
not Shekinah and Sarper.
No, that
Yeah, the
upsets me.
throuple.
I think that's the thing as I get older that upsets me the most about these shows when I'm like, oh, dude, there's kids involved. Like, if you want to like F up your own life, but it's always kids involved.
And I think that's the issue is there's nothing that's saying you can't say we're going to practice some type of ethical non-monogamy with children. Seeking Sister Wife has done that in several seasons. However, you have to go into it with more forethought, not like, we can't wait to go see our girlfriend. Kids, you're going to stay with this one we barely know.
They always have the conversation with like friends of like, well, we love her, we're going to go get her.
And the friend's like, you can't think something's wrong here. Nope, we haven't thought about any of that.
So bizarre. Okay, I've taken up so much of your time, but there's one last thing I want you brought up in terms of like stars. Like, and I will say with Bravo, we have Bravo celebrities. Like, it's like a natural extension of
we
like,
would love a 90-day con.
Well,
but they'll never do that.
TLC we're documentarians. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted your question.
But that's kind of do they say it with a wink? Like, I love TLC, but is there a con ever where you got sister wives? You got Cody and Alec Baldwin doing a panel
it's
together.
Definitely that. It's definitely that. But the intention behind all of it is, it's like Chris Colin from Love is Blind looking directly in the camera and saying, we are revolutionizing what love and how people meet
I actually
people.
think he takes it more seriously than TLC.
But I think
you're in
TLC.
love.
But I think TLC is still, they will always, they will tell themselves that they're the learning channel. You understand? It's the intention behind what they're doing. Mm-hmm. The people who are working at the mid-level say, we got to make something people are going to like here.
Which, honestly, though, we have to say, we've learned a lot.
I learned a lot through watching 90 Day Fiance.
Truthfully, because we always say, you're either your best or your worst self when you're beginning to date or get into a relationship.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why people, normally, why we really enjoy Love is Blind, but we always say, people look past the plastic surgery. That's the least interesting thing about them. But all of us are either a Darcy or a Stacy at our core when we're dating.
Queens, yeah.
We are. And so I think that it's that we see these heightened versions of themselves. I realized I was fucking codependent from watching Darcy.
I could have told you that.
I love too. But I see this heightened version. I went, okay, I'm not that, but I could be. Yeah. I could be if I was unchecked and didn't go to therapy and have a degree.
You're welcome for checking you.
I was going to say my therapist and my fucking degree.
No, it's a great point, but I just like, they don't want them to be stars, and yet we still find a way to make them stars.
Like, we had Darcy and Stacey, which we would love
Big
season.
Ed, who we don't like anymore.
Yeah,
Angela, Michael.
The more notorious ones seem to jump out. Yeah. Angela, Big Ed.
I think Gino and Jasmine are stars.
Gino and Jasmine are definitely the newest stars.
Yeah. And we interviewed Gino and Jasmine. I don't know how it happened, but they came to our live show.
They love you guys.
They weren't filming at the time. They were absolutely lovely. Gino was much more outgoing than Jasmine was.
He is like the charming.
See, that's what I'm like.
And she was so quiet.
Where he's like a Svengali a reality show Svengali.
Here is the issue. Both of them know. This is all I will say about it. Both of them know exactly what role they're playing on reality TV. What role they're supposed to play.
We kind of feel like and I think I said this on the show, if the throuple ends up being real, and they are in this throuple with Matt, then we kind of feel like then maybe this was all planned for last resort.
The other thing is what we do see now, I don't spend a lot of time on social media with looking at Gino and Jasmine, but Jasmine is saying things like, Gino's a liar now, which we never have seen before.
But then I was going to say on the flip side of that, we were kind of asking ourselves, is this actually happening in real time? They're at last resort, they're on a FaceTime call, but not with Gino and Matt, and they're talking. And when you think about both of them, they're both two very weird, kind of out there people. Yeah. And it could make sense that this is real. So
I'm curious who the first 90-day cast member that'll make it to the Traders. Because that's the one. We've not dipped into any TLC cast members, but we'll hit every other reality.
We've been on House
of
Villains, like we've had Anfisa.
Anfisa was on House of Villains.
But who's going to be the first on Traders?
I think
or is it just a bridge too far?
I would want Jasmine to be on Traders.
Jasmine would probably. You know what it is though? There's still a little low rent for Traders. I feel like there is
Even Alan Cummings like, no. Yeah.
There's not a star quality to a lot of them.
I don't know if TLC would let them do it too.
Yeah.
Because they really want...
They put them under contract and
want
pay
us to
them
see,
shit.
like, these are real people and their real lives, and if they start to see them everywhere,
they
doing
lose
things,
a little bit of, quote, authenticity.
Authenticity, yeah.
I will say I DM'd with Shekinah. Well, she came on for like a brief interview, highly vetted by TLC.
Yes,
They were
I'm
on the
sure.
whole time.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, I had seen a clip of like the bit where they were eating butter, like a stick of butter.
Yes.
And I was like, stick of butter, LOL. And she's like, yeah, it's amazing. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
I'm sorry. I thought it was
They
a
are
joke.
exactly who they
Yes,
are.
exactly.
And very nice. Like she was so nice.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, it's like a little bit of a bit. It's not a bit.
No.
I think a lot of these people, we have contact with some of them, and some of them are just regular people. And like we're talking to Stevie and Mattie now, so she talks to us sometimes. A lot of them are just regular people who've been put on television.
And then there's a lot of them that don't get the joke.
And
And
there
don't realize
are
we're
a
a
lot of
comedy
them
podcast.
and who block us, and we're like, dude, we never followed you anyway. And so, yeah.
Finally, and this is no shade to Sean Robinson, but would there ever be a world in which you would consider doing the after shows or the reunions?
Yeah, in a second.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even before we podcast,
just
I get
because
on camera hosting forever.
she's a legend. I remember her, watching her on the first day of Access Hollywood, I believe. I mean, but sometimes she just seems like,
Well, she's not a fan of the show, number one.
yeah, you can tell.
You can tell that you feel like.
She also doesn't have a lot of vested interest, which is what a lot of fans.
And we don't know if that's on her or if that's
or-
on the production
yeah.
team that's got a in her ear.
The other thing is you know that it seems like she is not really interested in getting results or answers for her or the audience, but it's questions the producers want her to ask. So that's why it feels a little inside corporate baseball. I don't think they will ever get rid of her. But I don't know if the way they're going with things right now, if that's sustainable.
Yeah.
If
they ever did get rid of her, I mean, they're probably, we say too much shit, so it probably wouldn't be us.
It would never be us.
But I could see them maybe doing like a past cast member, like Veronica and Tim.
Yeah, or Kenny.
Kenny and Armando, or Kenny.
Colty. I'm joking. Okay.
Debbie.
Actually, I would love like a Veronica Kenny co-host. That would be a good tell-all.
No, it's just one of those things when you get to that reunion portion of it.
we would
and
love it.
You have 5 episodes and you can just tell, it's not, I don't even sense that she's like fearing for her life. She's just like checked out.
No.
You know what I really would love? They kind of did this with Kenny and Armando, Kenny and Tim. Is for this to have a host, but then like those
Color commentary.
gay Muppets.
Yeah.
Like
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf. They like cut to Jake and I just sitting in a booth like.
That's
And
not a bad idea,
I'm going,
actually.
girl, look at her eyebrows.
And I'll be
Color
like,
commentary.
Yes.
and I'm like yelling, go to a benefit counter, bitch.
That's actually a genius idea. Anyways, you guys, Reality Gays, I took so much of their time. Thank you for being with us. I want to let you guys know that their main feed has all of their podcasts. Which shows are you covering right now? Which days?
Right now, we are covering 90 Day Fiance that drops on Sunday and Monday, and then we're covering Last Resort that drops on Tuesday. Also, check out our pop culture show on Friday, completely 90 Day Fiance free.
Yeah.
It's just us being ridiculous, talking about gay things. If you don't have enough
Do you have
squealing
to be
queens
gay
in
to
your
listen?
life,
No,
you do
I'm
not.
just-
Okay, that's
no,
what I want.
It doesn't even help.
No. In fact, most things we talk about aren't technically gay. We just
make them
think
gay.
it's gay,
Which is perfect. Yeah.
And
which is
we
perfect.
and we play games. Sometimes we talk about things that we have a segment called "Bitch or Bow Down," where we either complain or rant or things that we love.
We have a
And
section called "Straight People Be Crazy."
Straight Will Be Crazy.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is just kind of like everything that we've wanted to do. That things that make us laugh and things we talked about. Last week was all about the Bad Bunny Calvin Klein
Oh
shoot.
yeah, I listened. Yeah.
And also
I
about
zoomed right
how-
in on that crotch.
Exactly, me
Yeah.
too. And how Calvin Klein models were for gay boys and young queer boys were just like such in a way. So it's a lot of it through that lens.
Yeah.
And so we talk about one thing, the word of the gay, where we talk about something that was up this week that influenced us. And then we just talk about things we're into, like different music, different shows, movies. I talk about how I was microdosing pancakes one time.
He thought it was going to catch on. Shocker. It did not.
And it is a trend that I'm waiting to start again.
And that's all of our public feed. And if people want to listen to Love After Lockup, or if they want to listen to
and you
things
watch
like
the
Love
video,
is Blind,
the simulcast, right?
yeah,
That's on
all
our Patreon, or RG Plus, yeah.
And then I know you guys do live shows, but I do want to promote also a live show you're a part of next week in Chicago. Amy Phillips from Drama Darling, you're going to be there along with Mary Payne Gilbert from Pink Shade. That's going to be insane in Chicago.
It's going to be really fun.
Still get tickets, I believe. And when are you going to go out on a tour again, you guys?
I doubt we'll go out this fall. If we're not, we need to plan it real soon.
What month are we in?
We've got we have other irons too in the fire that we can't speak to right now. publicly.
Wow!
I love teasing.
Competitive wrestling. What are we doing?
But we just have some other stuff we're working on that are kind of branching out from podcasting as well. So and it's not just Poodle's tricks.
Yeah.
Is it a musical?
If the earliest we would go out would be the fall for live.
We would like to.
We love touring, and if not
late spring
next year.
And you love the sissies, so
yes.
Our main thing is we don't want to tour where it's cold.
Yeah,
that's
so
basically we can't do weather.
It's going to be the
I
fall.
like that the whisper got louder and deeper.
It's going to be the fall or spring. Yeah, but we love touring.
So you will see them make a special appearance at Amy Phillips.
Yes,
it is like seeing.
If you want to see us. If you want to see us sooner, you're upset in Chicago. If you want to see us, that's a good time.
Yeah, sometimes you see. I was just out and about at a gay club the other night, and I tipped a go-go dancer $20, and I turn around and this guy says, "Mattie," and I went, "Oh, that was something."
We don't get gay men.
He goes, "I'm a member of your Patreon."
I was like, "Oh God."
Mattie and Poodle, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
We
love you, Ryan Bailey.
Thank
You're
you.
really
This
the
was
hardest
so wonderful.
working. Just
Dare
human.
you.
Love you.
Thanks, guys.
With your blue Henry.
Okay, stop it.
Okay.
Stop.